down, man. Suitcase this, my cell phone and my charger don't walk with a limp. You get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see you ass, you gon' leave airlifted. What's up, everybody, man? You already know, man. K-Fraud TV back in the building. Y'all go ahead, hit that like, subscribe button, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. For this video here, we're gonna be speaking on that event that just happened down here in Florida. You know, the fishing trip massacre. And they actually caught the 3 suspects, you know, took them into custody. So I'm going to be breaking it down a little bit, you know, and give y'all my opinion on how I feel about it. A lot of people been hitting me up, DMing me, asking me to speak on this. And, you know, since I am kind of like a voice of Florida, you know, all the other channels are pussy. So I might as well go ahead and I'll speak on this, you feel me? For the most part, for those that don't know, 3 friends, you know, they met up and they decided to go fishing in Polk County. And the timing of them to go fishing, next thing you know, they're found all beaten up and shot up and left for dead. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's get into it.
In Polk County, 3 men who were close friends killed during a fishing trip last night. This happened at Lake Streety in Frostproof. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says this was one of the worst murder scenes he's ever seen. Investigators say one of the victims arrived first. That's when he was beaten and fatally shot. The other 2 soon pulled up and also were shot and beaten.
But here's what the murderers didn't count on. That one of our victims, Brandon Rollins, was able to call his father and say help. His father, who was home in bed asleep, heard the call from his son, knew where they were fishing, jumped up, got dressed, drove here immediately.
Now, the crazy thing about it, though, as soon as they actually got caught, the 3 people who they arrested for it, the older brother actually told on the younger brother. You know what I'm saying? One of the trio gives details. William Wiggins admits to seeing Tillman, one of the victims, in the Dollar General store on Friday evening while they stood in line. The younger brother had over 200 and something felonies, and he's been to prison twice. You know, like, I don't know anyone that's got that many felonies and only been to prison 2 times, you know what I'm saying, down here in Florida. So that kind of threw me when I seen it was that many felonies, and I believe 26 misdemeanors. So 230 felonies and 26 misdemeanors, and you only been to prison 2 times. I mean, you know, I ain't never seen that happen before, you know what I'm saying? But when these men, you know, when they were caught, when it was the 2 brothers and the girlfriend, when they were actually found, they were found in their trailers, you know, on a family like plot, and the girlfriend had a trailer there as well as her boyfriend or whatnot, and they were actually, you know, getting it off the grid. They were living with no electricity or water or nothing like that, and they just had generators running. You know, they were just, that was it. They didn't have like a house or anything like that. You know, they was getting it how they can. You feel me? But I'm gonna go ahead, man, and read it to you so that way you get more, you know, perspective of it, get more into detail. So check it out. One of the suspects, Tony Wiggins, had previously been charged with 230 felonies and had been consistently arrested since he was 12. Jude said during a news conference to announce the arrest, his brother Robert Wiggins, William first name, and girlfriend Mary were also arrested. The suspects are accused in the shooting and deaths and beatings of Damian Tillman, Kevin Springfield, and Brandon Rollins on Friday night as they gathered at the remote boat ramp at Lake Streety near Frostproof. Judd, who has worked at the agency since 1972, called the crime scene horrific, describing deaths as a massacre. He said the men were beaten and shot up. I've been to a lot of murder scenes in my life, and this ranks amongst the worst, Jude said during a Saturday interview. According to the sheriff, Tillman was at a Dollar General store in the area and mentioned he was meeting his friends to go fishing at the lake. The store clerk later told investigators the suspects were in the store and overheard Tillman saying he was meeting up with his friends. Judd said Tony Wiggins told his brother to drive to the lake. Once there, Tony Wiggins confronted Springfield, accusing him of stealing his truck and selling the engine. Judd said investigators have not yet determined whether that allegation is true. The brothers told detectives Tony Wiggins shot all 3 victims, then asked him to help put Tillman in the back of the truck. The sheriff said the trio then went to McDonald's and ordered 10 double cheeseburgers and 2 chicken sandwiches. Rollins was still alive when the attackers left, Judd said. He called his father for help. The father arrived about 10 minutes later, but forgot his cell phone in a rush to help his son, so went to the convenience store to get help. By the time help arrived, his son had died. Tony Wiggins is charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. His brother and girlfriend are each charged with accessory after the fact. So after they seen him inside the dollar store, I guess they decided to follow him out or whatever. And after overhearing where it was he was going, and that they followed him from there. But that video of him being in the dollar store is a very, bad thing on the behalf of the people arrested for it. You get what I'm saying? And then they say that on the scene, they actually found a bag that belonged to the first person who actually got shot and everything, to the one that was on the video. They found a Dollar General bag with a receipt in it with the time. And then when they looked back onto it and everything like that, before the older brother had told, they had to start moving. They started from the back. They had to work their way up. Once they looked back on the receipt with the timing, then they went to the dollar store, pulled the cameras, and then that's how they seen that the people were actually in there, the suspects and the victims. Investigators found 2 SKS 7.62 millimeter rifles, 2 shotguns, and ammunition in a safe belonging to TJ Wiggins. He was arrested Monday initially on a charge of possession of firearm by a convicted felon, the sheriff's office said. So, that right there kind of like seals the deal for the most part when they literally found the guns that they found there, and then it matched the murder weapon of the people that was, killed. That's kind of like all she wrote, you feel me, for the most part, because 2 SKSs and then 2 Mossberg pumps, you're a convicted felon. Shit like that. The girlfriend's in trouble because she's the one that purchased the ammunition, because she had no prior arrests. Then the older brother who told, he had 1 misdemeanor arrest on his record. The guy they arrested saying that, the other one stole his truck and sold the motor out of it, so that's why he did what he did, and, stuff like that or whatever. So, I mean, the way I look at the whole situation is, it's a pretty messed up, fucked up situation. You get what I'm saying? Because the other 2 dudes that was with the guy, they just came there. They pulled up, and when they pulled up, they got out of the truck in the middle of the first guy being shot. So, when they pulled up and seen the shit going down, they got dragged into it. So you took 3 people off this earth, over a motor out of a truck. You feel me? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a felon, I'm a convict, I've done things before that I ain't proud of, and I know anything can happen, and a little thing means a lot, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm not saying nothing, like, oh, I would never do that and talk, you never really know, you feel me? But it is a fucked up situation, sorry for all the people out there in Polk County who, they've been mourning about it for the last couple days or whatever. Sorry to all the families out there, and, they got to go through this shit, you know what I'm saying? I know it sucks to lose a loved one or someone and since it was such a small area, everybody knew everybody. It was a hard thing for that dad to get that phone call, from his son, letting him know that I'm hurt or whatever. And then when the dad went there to go see him, he was about dead. and then he left and went to the convenience store. You know, he was the first one on scene to see it. So, you know, that's got to be a, you know, a fucked up thing. You know, the dad's got to be going through it right now, you know, and my prayers go out to him and everything, because my dad always told me, you know, I used to tell him I don't want to be alive when he passes away. You feel me? And he used to tell me to never say that the worst feeling is a parent having to bury their child. You know, he said, my dad used to say that, you know, I'm grown, son. I live my life. I'm grown. I've had my share. But no parent should have to live to see their child be buried. You get what I'm saying? So that's all I really got to say about this video. Like I said, it's a crazy situation. My prayers go out to everybody in Polk County. You know, I'm from Florida, so of course I'm gonna speak on this. And you know, that shit ain't looking good for the 3 people that got arrested. Even though the brother's blaming it on the one who has the majority of the charges, you know, it's still murder after the fact, because he's asking him to help him put him in the trunk and, you know, different shit. He was still there. The girl, even though she's never been arrested, you know, that shit don't look good on her behalf either. Even she's the one that purchased the ammunition. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just all big, you know. It made headlines that it's a massacre, you know. So, like I said, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all be careful when you're out there fishing. You know me, I just started doing shark fishing, so I'll be out there, you know, a little bit too. Anything can happen. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. This K-Frog.